Hello, World Wide Websters. Welcome to this internet video.
What's cracking, YouTubers?
Coolest that guy in. Out.
You have no place on our platform.
Today we'll be talking about conspiracy theories, starting with pigeons aren't real, apparently. If you've ever been to the US, you've seen pigeons before. But why are there so many of them? Is it just because that's where they live? Oh no. It's because they're robots created to spy on civilians. According to this theory, they stand on wires because that's where they recharge their battery. And that's about the extent of the theory, but my question is, why? I mean, the government already has cameras everywhere. They can spy on you through your phone if they please. What's a robot bird gonna do for them? We have too many people, and we need to make sure none of them are jaywalking. Any solutions? Birds! Robot birds! That is genius! Alright, so we need to find the common species of bird in the area. No, wake up a species of bird and gaslight everyone into thinking that it always existed, and we trick everyone into thinking that in the past people used them to send messages to each other. Give that guy a raise. Shane, any thoughts?
Honestly, I kind of have a little theory. I know this is going to sound crazy.
Oh, please do tell.
You're a fake.
I'm pretty sure I'm real. I mean, if your theory is right, it's so well hidden that even I didn't know it. Let's just go to the next one. Are you familiar with that round rock floating in the night sky of Earth? You know, that satellite that Earthlings refer to as the moon? Well, that's not a rock, that's an alien spaceship! What, you want proof? There's tons of it. Like, the moon is less than the Earth. So that's a spaceship. During Apollo missions, they put seismometers on the moon, and they picked up that during moonquakes, the moon rang like a bell. You know what spaceships famously do. And during solar eclipses, the moon perfectly hides the sun sometimes. It all can't be a coincidence. Must be aliens! I'm sure by now you can see why these arguments are pretty silly. But if you need me to walk you through it, the reason that Earth is more dense than the moon is because Earth has a wildly different density level at the core than at the surface, causing it to be more dense. Whereas the moon has a bit more consistency in that, or at least that's what I understood from the Wikipedia article I read. So that's the reason for that. As for why it rings like a bell, that's just a product of the moon's density as well as texture. And as for why it covers the sun the way it does during an eclipse, that's just because it happens to be at the distance where it can do that. Ever since the moon first came into being, it's been slowly getting away from Earth, and we just happen to live at a time where the moon is at the right distance to look the same size as the sun. This theory claims that every world leader, every traditional celebrity, I never heard anyone say this about YouTubers, finers, or anything like that, and a lot of politicians are actually shape-shifting lizard people. What's their proof? Well, Justin Bieber's eyes looked weird one time. Mark Zuckerberg looked weird every single time. The Queen seemed to be immortal until she didn't. I don't know if I can find any good reason to believe it. What I found was that the origin of this theory was that authors were writing about, like, shape-shifting lizard people, and people read it and thought, what if they were politicians I didn't like? Which is stupid. Well, let's move on to the next one. Do you know anything about Australian history?
I don't know about history. When I was in high school, I hated history.
Well, then allow me to educate you. If you know anything about it, you'll know that when the UK first colonized the place, they sent a bunch of prisoners there to populate the area. That sounds so ridiculous, but that's actually what happened. But since it sounds so incredibly silly, people just couldn't believe it, and they made up an even more silly explanation. According to this theory, the UK just claimed to have discovered new land to cover up for sending a bunch of prisoners and drowning them in the middle of the ocean, which isn't what happened. And then they wanted to cover it up to avoid public backlash, which, considering that the Crusades happened, witch hunts happened, slavery happened, I highly doubt that anyone would have, at that time, would have had a problem with drowning a bunch of prisoners. But apparently they just needed to avoid public backlash, so they made up an entire new continent, put it someplace on a map, and then when people were like, oh, I want to go there, they were like, oh, yeah, we need to find new land and say that it's Australia. So they went off, found some land somewhere, and they hired a bunch of actors and sent them there to act as if they're just normal residents and act like they have this history and stuff. And they created a bunch of robot animals and sent them there too. And some of the actors were sent to go around the world and say, hey, I'm from Australia and I'm not an actor. And yeah, that's the extent of that. But oh my god, sorry God, we really messed up here. We only have one option. We must make Australia become a real place. Do you think we have the budget to hire multiple actors to pretend to be Australia? We need just a few million. Allow me to check, Your Majesty. It is not. Alright, then we'll just get slaves. Oh, do you know anyone who can build us robots? Yeah, I do believe I knew one of those robots people, yeah. Okay, good. We'll need multiple robots of very dangerous animals and a very small cute bear. Alright, I need you to make up an accent. You can't just make up an accent. Make up an accent or I will throw you into the ocean like those criminals. Howdy, partner. Isn't good enough. Good day, Selmoit. Try harder. Good day, mate. That is perfect. It's too ridiculous for that to actually be what's happening, because do you know how difficult it would be for like satellite images to have to create a fake Australia and have to make the weather of wherever the actual Australia is and make it look like it's over there, and how, do you know how many people would have to be paid off? And whenever Australia was discovered, people would be traveling there. So to the people who actually got there, every single one of them, it would have had to be the case that they were going, following the map, something threw them wildly off course, and they ended up in wherever the fake Australia is. And about that, if everyone is claiming that that place is Australia, there are people living there called Australians. At that point, isn't that just Australia? Like, it wouldn't be a case of Australia isn't real, it would be a case of Australia's history isn't real. This history just doesn't work on any level. But if it did, Shane, where do you think this fake Australia would be?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh? Then where's Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh.
One place cannot be two wildly different places that are wildly apart. That's just not how reality works. That's also not how this theory works, so it checks out. So, those were the crazy conspiracy theories. Shane, what did you think of this experience?
Pissing me the off.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What would you suggest I do next time to improve?
Do an impersonation of Janae.
Yeah, I don't think I'll do that, but thanks for the suggestion. And for you, the viewer, thank you for watching this video. If you have any other conspiracies you would like me to tackle, leave that in the comment section, wherever that may be on the website you're watching this on. And if you want to tell me about how I'm so wrong for not believing in these conspiracies, and how I'm actually being paid by the government to make you all look silly when you're actually right, then leave a video response. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and goodbye.